We got to catch up on a whole bunch of senators in the GOP right now and address the growing divide that's happening there, because there are a bunch that are good. Okay, there's a bunch that I like, and we're going to get to those as well, but we got to start here with little Marco Rubio, okay? He's probably the neocons' second favorite Republican right now. They'd probably want him to be the VP pick for Nikki Haley in 2024. Highly unlikely, okay? Listen, I think they're starting to figure out that Trump and populism is the only way forward, that the Republican Party is going to maintain any sort of, unity going forward. We've seen the statistics that people still want to vote for Trump, that people love the direction of the Republican Party at right now even, well, actually this was a couple days after the Capitol Hill riots. It was they would still vote for Trump at a 74% clip, and that was registered Republicans, and that would be the absolute basement level that he would hit. So, I don't know, it's clear to me, it's clear to most Republican supporters, but it's not clear to the neocons out there, so that's why Marco Rubio's walking back what he said about the Capitol Hill riots on the day of, and now he's saying, oh, the impeachment trial is stupid. I will vote as soon as I can to vote against it, because all of a sudden he's America first Marco Rubio. Highly fucking unlikely. Marco Rubio said the Senate impeachment trial of Trump is stupid. The first chance I get, I'll vote to end the trial. I'll do it, the Florida Republican said, because, America, right, Marco? Sure. He definitely doesn't have ulterior motives for saying stuff like that. Marco said a trial would be very bad for America and counterproductive to passing legislation. Well, to be fair, the Democrats can just continue to bully their way through for at least the next 2 years, because they're going to have a de facto majority, because, well, Vice President Harris still comes down and casts a tie-breaking vote. So the Democrats have the majority. They still have the House for 2 years, and Joe Biden's going to do whatever he is told to do. So let's not fucking pretend that this has anything to do other than securing your political future, which is dwindling by the day, by the way, Marco. He was on Fox News Sunday, along with another lump of shit we'll get to in a minute. Chris Wallace, who is probably still dabbing tears from the corner of his eyes after listening to the Joe Biden inauguration speech on repeat for the past, 4 or 5 days. Chris Wallace, I bet he won't have a job by the time 2024 rolls around. A lot of people are saying within 6 months, but let's take a look at the direction that Fox News is going right now. I'm going to say that he's going to be around for at least a little while longer before the bottom really falls out at Fox News. I think the trial is stupid, he said. I think it's counterproductive, and we have a flaming fire in this country, and it's like taking a bunch of gasoline and pouring it on top of the fire. Wow, very original, Marco. The first chance I get to vote to end this trial, I'll do it. On January 13th, Trump was impeached by the House. Obviously, we know that. Rubio said then President Gerald Ford's 1974 pardon of former President Richard Nixon for any crimes committed during his time in office was, in hindsight, important for moving the country forward. What is this in reference to? I think Trump is entitled to due process. The House doesn't have much of a record of witnesses because they rammed it through very quickly. I think it's going to be very bad for the country. Yeah, no trials, 8 hours from the time that the articles were delivered to the House to the time that they voted on it. So if this doesn't scream political hack job, I don't know what does. Wallace asked Rubio if Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky was wrong for saying that the Capitol mob was fed lies and provoked the president and other powerful people. I think the president bears responsibility for some of what happened. Well, how do you explain the timelines not matching up, that he's still up there giving his speech, and pretty much everybody who's worth their salt when it comes to constitutional law is saying that nothing Trump said during his speech on the ellipse was incitement to violence. I've seen it. You've seen it. There's nothing in there. Okay. And also how the breaking in was already happening 30 minutes before the end of Trump's speech. He was still talking. It was going on. And it was a mile walk to get to Capitol Hill from the White House. How the fuck do you reconcile that? That's going to be fun when that piece of evidence is brought before the Senate during the trials. Okay, listen, this was already happening. I hadn't even made the remarks that you think are inflammatory, and yeah, they were already trying to bust in. And here's all the pictures of all the Antifa members who were changing in the forest, or all the people, or yeah, bring up just James Earl Sullivan himself, the Black Lives Matter Antifa activist who was, once hosted on Anderson Cooper's show on CNN, by the way. Yeah, how about the fact that he was released without bail and on his own recognizance? Meanwhile, the Q Shaman and Baked Alaska, who are just fucking bitching and moaning and crawling up the sides of the cell in order to get out. But Jake Angeli, the Q shaman, old Buffalo boy there, at least he got his organic food, so, he might be in a little bit better of a scenario. But Baked Alaska is too busy complaining, "Oh, Trump made me do it." What, did he press record on your D-Live live stream? You fucking moron. But why is Marco Rubio, switching position from, "Oh, Trump caused all this violence on Capitol Hill, there's nothing you could possibly do"? Well, he realized that he's up for re-election in 2022. Like it says here, Wallace then asked Rubio, who will face re-election in 2022, about the chatter of former White House advisor and presidential daughter Ivanka Trump will challenge him in the GOP primary. Yeah, that's because he's scared. He's scared, okay? I didn't know about this one, but I knew Junior's got a house in Montana, and he's looking to primary the senator up there, and I forget his name. And Eric Trump's wife, is that Laura? I think it's Laura. She's looking to do some primarying in North or South Carolina. And the scuttlebutt about Kristi Noem primarying Tom Thune in South Dakota is just delicious. Like Eric Trump said beforehand, what was that, on January 3rd or January 4th? Every senator, everybody who doesn't vote to contest the election, we're keeping a list. And it looks like, and that's coming through because Marco Rubio is just as big of a snake as Mitch McConnell, as Lindsey Graham, Tom Thune, Tom Tillis, all of those guys that you can think of. Now, I left one name out of there, somebody who we beat on incessantly because he totally deserves it. I don't think he wants to run again. Or at least he just doesn't want to win, or maybe he's being fed purposefully bad information. Like, I don't get it. But I said Marco Rubio was being accompanied on Fox News Sunday by a certain senator, and that's Mitt Romney. What was his take on the impeachment? Well, it was predictably bad, obviously. Mitt Romney, Trump's impeachment is important to bring unity in our country. What a disgrace. That is something that you'd expect from Mazie Hirono, who we covered before, but at least she's right up there at the top. The goal of the impeachment is to hold Trump accountable and to stop him from seeking office again in the future. Yeah, we covered that before. It's making a comeback again, and that's what Mitt Romney's all about. The dude just hasn't forgot the bitching out that happened in 2016, and he just wants to exact revenge. Kind of like old fat-ass Chris Christie. I don't know. He got his ass kicked by COVID, but he also gets his ass kicked by a set of stairs. I don't want to take advice from anybody whose blood type is Ragu. Why don't you go see if Obama's handing out any more hugs, you fat fuck. Senator Mitt Romney from the great state of Utah argued on this week's broadcast of Fox News Sunday that the impeachment against former President Donald Trump would bring national unity. You, my friend, are fucking retarded. Anchor Chris Wallace said, "Senator, do you support holding this impeachment trial? And do you think the rules should be on the length of the trial and whether or not to call witnesses?" Romney said, "I do a Romney impression, but I forget what he sounds like and don't have a ball gag, so..." Well, we're certainly going to have a trial. I wish this wasn't necessary. It's not necessary. He's not in office, you fucking moron. With the president's conduct with regard to the call of the Secretary of State in Georgia, you are still running with that disinformation, you ingenuous hack, as well as the inciting the insurrection that led to the Capitol attack calls for the trial. No, it doesn't. God, just switch to a Democrat already and just end your fucking political career. We get it. You hate Trump. If we are going to have unity in our country, I think it's important to recognize the need for accountability for truth and justice. Sure. No, it's more like reconciliation, our truth, and vengeance. So I think there will be a trial, and I hope it goes quickly as possible, and that's up to the council on both sides. Yeah, it's supposed to take about 3 days. That's apparently the timeline that's been thrown out there as well. And remember, it's going to take 17 Republicans to cross the aisle in order to vote for the impeachment, or for the conviction in the Senate, because it requires a supermajority, 67 senators, and, Mittens is going to be up there, Susan Collins, Murkowski, Thune, maybe not McConnell because he got his list, or he got his pardon wish list, so I don't know. All I count is maybe 4, maybe, I don't know, maybe. You could probably rescind Thune because he's the de facto number 2 in the Senate. So we'll see. And all of those other snakes, especially with what Rubio had to say and Lindsey Graham doing an about face. I still don't think the votes are there. So this is just going to be a dog and pony show. And what this is going to do is just expose the snakes in the Senate. And you'll love to see it. But we got to dive out of the Senate for a second. But we're going to get back to it because we got another good Republican who didn't stand up for contestation of of the election, and I was critical about him, but on the whole, he's a good dude, and I think we can all rally behind him into the future. But we got to dive out, because this is all about the Republican Party just being, I don't know, at odds with each other, because one fraction, I don't even think it's half. It's like 30% of these old schoolers that's like, oh no, yeah, we got to go back. Mitt Romney's our leader, and George Bush definitely didn't tank the party in 2008 and it had no future until Trump came along. And then the other side, it's like, no, we are looking at the numbers and people want to go ahead with populism. So they are getting rid of the former to side with the latter. And we documented this to begin with, okay? We went through a whole list of censures from a bunch of different states. Like we covered Liz Cheney being censored outright in Wyoming, and she already has a primary challenger. I don't know much about them, so we'll have to see who it is and if they're serious, and that doesn't come around for like another year's time, so we get to pump the brakes on that one. But yeah, she looks like she's on the outs. And a couple more here. It's not like it really matters. This is just kind of all of these censures. This is just what it means is your state legislature vehemently condemns your actions, okay? And they no longer support you. It's completely 100% symbolic. But what it tells the electorate at large, your registered Republicans who would be getting the newsletters from the GOP, which would apply these censures, is that these are the type of people that we don't like their politics. We don't support the fact that they fly the GOP banner, and you should not support them any further. And they applied that to Governor Doug Ducey, who he's dead in the water now, okay? He's going to be termed out as the governor, and he really will have to lay low and recover for the next few terms. You might see him again in the 30s, which is weird to talk about. And Jeff Flake, who retired off into the sunset, and nobody likes him. I think he exited the Senate with like a 20% approval rating. And Cindy McCain, who's just a Democrat at this point, let's be completely honest. And the Arizona GOP, who we've covered a bunch, has been great at excising the demon that is John McCain. So let's see what we got what the GOP in Arizona got everybody on. Ducey for restrict personal liberties and force compliance to unconstitutional edicts. And then Jeff Flake condemned the Republican Party, rejected populism, and rejects the interest of the American people over global interests. While the state of the party said McCain, who endorses Joe Biden for president, has supported globalist policies and candidates. Fucking A. I wish every GOP was like the Arizona GOP. But it looks like we got to hop over across the country, and we got to hit up Michigan, who could be going under one hell of an about face in 2022, because everybody's favorite evil box wine aunt is going to be up for re-election if she doesn't take the spot in Joe Biden's cabinet. I don't know what she's waiting for, but yeah, she'll be in there if she knows what's good for her, because she's going to be getting a shit kicking. And Fred Upton, the dude who holds Gerald Ford's seat 3 years prior to my birth, he has held that seat. He's been in the House of Representatives since 1987. For fuck's sakes, just retire. And this is essentially the first step, okay? Michigan County's Republican Party voted to censure Fred Upton for his vote to impeach President Donald Trump earlier this month during the Allegheny County Republican Convention. Members voted January 21st to censure and condemn Upton in a unanimous vote, according to the statement, adding that Upton ignored the voice of his voters in Allegheny County by voting for Trump's impeachment. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a massive victory for Trump, because they didn't use voting machines there. Good. I don't know if he's going to be seeking re-election, and if he is, he's going to be one of those guys that's going to get primaried by somebody in Michigan who can come in and take the mantle for the populism that's growing within this party. And right now, it might seem like it's at the absolute lowest level, but it's only going to rise from here. We see everything that Biden's doing right now, and you know what? I'll at least give him credit, because he is sticking to his platform, okay? He is focusing on green energy. He is focusing on intersectionality and the policies within, and he is making a total asshole out of himself, sticking to his entire platform. So, hey, you know what? Big ups to him. It's only been a few days, but at least he's still on target. It's just weird, huh? How he just kind of disappears at around that, 3-4 o'clock hour, and you don't really see him until the next morning. Weird, huh? That wasn't exactly his MO during the campaign trail. Like I said, we got to hop back up to the Senate, and we got to talk about Rand Paul. Okay? He didn't vote, and he had a really obtuse reason for not wanting to vote to contest the electoral vote because libertarians. Listen, I love you guys on the economy, but your social policies are just fucking whack sometimes. You don't understand the fucking big picture. Oh, just leave your hands off of everything. Yeah. Then we end up with shit with like what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the day. Anyways, yeah, this is a good one. I just wanted to touch on this quickly. Rand Paul and George Stephanopoulos spar on election fraud. I won't be cowed by liberals in the media. Rand Paul, good man. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul and ABC anchor George Stephanopoulos sparred over the topic of presidential fraud in the 2020 election during the Sunday morning segment on This Week. So at least Rand Paul went to a devout anti-populist station at ABC. And at least he has the balls to do that and not fucking Mitt Romney and Marco Rubio going to fucking Sunday morning Fox show playing on home turf. But here's how this one worked out. The fireworks began when Stephanopoulos asked Paul to accept that the election was not stolen, an argument long disputed by former President Donald Trump and anyone with eyes, arguing that most cases have been tossed out of courts were done because of lack of standing and not on the merits of the argument. Paul said the debate over whether or not there was fraud should occur. I love it. Dude, we've seen so many instances, and we don't even have to bring up the ghost of Hugo Chavez or sending votes overseas to be counted. Those were all fucking lies. Everybody was taking on a trip there, if you fucking believe that for a minute. I was always a little bit skeptical, but hey, we'll see what the fucking Maricopa County board finds out now that they're doing an audit on the Dominion machines there. But it was always important to just look at the signatures, check the people who were on there, and hopefully that occurs. It won't occur, though. Were there people who voted twice? Were there dead people who voted? Were there illegal aliens who voted? Yes, we should get to the bottom of it, Paul said. Hey, it's been verified out there, okay? And that's what Rand Paul said. After acknowledging that no election is perfect, Stephanopoulos pushed back by citing the dismissed cases and the fact that every state certified their results. Fucking bravo. He said that 86 cases for Trump were thrown out. How many were actually filed by Trump? 3, 4, or 5? A lot of them were filed on his behalf, okay? They weren't filed by the Trump legal team. So just goes to show you what ABC's working with and why the effects of the media cannot be understated. Dude, there's so much information coming out that people didn't know about Joe Biden and what he's doing right now. And it's like, oh, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have voted for him. I'm just showing you how powerful the mainstream media is, even though a lot of people online still want to push the idea that mainstream media's influence is dead, okay? I think everybody got a big fucking slap in the face based on that. He then added that former Attorney General Bill Barr himself claimed there was no widespread fraud. Well, they weren't done with their investigation, and what they found, there was no evidence of it yet, but they had barely conducted anything, so, and who knows how much they actually got through, because it was never closed, and Bill Barr resigned on the 23rd of December, so what's the point of bringing him up? The two men then sparred over the fact that 3/4 of the Republican Party want to look into the issue of election integrity, and like half of everyone who voted, okay, including 30% of Democrats think that there was something fishy with the election, so... 75% of Republicans agree with you because they were fed a big lie by President Trump and his supporters who say the election was stolen, the ABC anchor argued. That must be fun to just hand wave stuff away, but I'll let Rand Paul knock down Snuffleupagus, a Kentucky senator, at several points challenging the ABC anchor of inserting himself in the middle instead of bringing on somebody else and playing the role of unbiased media. Yes, here's where it gets good, and this is how he finished out. I won't be cowed by liberals in the media who say there's no evidence here and you're a liar if you talk about election fraud, Paul declared. No, let's have an open debate. It's a free country. Paul finished by acknowledging that there was that he accepted the state certifications, but argued the acceptance doesn't mean that there weren't problems that have to be investigated. Yeah, exactly. And there wasn't enough time, and nobody wanted to look at the evidence because it was all, next court. So nothing was ever looked into, okay? Everything was all dismissed on standing. The only ones that were taken in were some of the Kraken suits, and they were never allowed to go in for discovery or anything further than that. They just looked at it, and it's like, okay, Dominion machines aren't used in these counties. This is fucking stupid. Do your research. Take it and go fuck your mother. So that was about the extent of what the courts ever looked at these lawsuits for. Some of them were, mind-meltingly dumb and poorly written, but a lot of them were good, and we know which ones those are, Texas v. Pennsylvania. But judges and the courts have a weird way of just slithering out of stuff, so I'm glad we got to talk about a whole swath of Republicans, just showing that there is such a big divide when it comes to this party. On one hand, it's good because there's a big tent approach to this, okay? A lot of people can be Republicans. It spans the divide, okay? You got Hispanics, you got Mormons, you got libertarians, and you got authoritarians all under one tent. That is terrific. But at the same time, some of them don't understand the direction the party is going in, okay? 75% want the election to be taken a closer look at. 75% of people are going to be disappointed because it's probably not going to happen. All we're going to get is what's happening in Arizona right now, and who knows if that information is just going to get, I don't know, trickled out like somebody with a prostate problem, just trickled down your fucking leg. But most of the GOPs out there at least understand that there is something going on, okay? The big guys up at the top, the Mitch McConnells of the world, the Mitt Romneys of the world, they have different information than the GOPs that are on the ground. So I give big ups to the GOP party in Michigan and Arizona for censuring those fucking half-wits and idiots and making sure that they do not get reelected going forward and that their future is Dunsky. And shout-outs to Wyoming, even though we didn't really talk about it. Same thing, okay? The guys on the ground know what's up, and it's starting to trickle up because this information is coming back in, and that's why Marco Rubio was walking back everything that he said, and he's like, oh, all of a sudden I'm going to be the guy who's vehemently against impeachment because I know that I am up for election in 2022, and I'm not an old man by any means. But yeah, you'll still have the neocons back, even though that's what, like 20% of the party going forward. So fuck you, Marco. Hopefully you get primaried by Ivanka. It would make me laugh because she's like 1.5 feet taller than you, and nothing would make me laugh harder than seeing him have to walk up behind the podium and stand on 3 or 4 phone books in order to look like a man next to Ivanka. But we got more important issues to talk about, something a little bit different. We're going to go and focus less politically in the next couple of videos, so hopefully you guys are up for that because it's kind of cleanup day here, so we'll get into it real quick. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.